The Agricultural Wales Bill is out for consultation at the moment, and it's going to be really critical to nature going forwards because agriculture in Wales is devolved. So that means that the Welsh Government and the Senedd in Cardiff decides on the future of agriculture. And that's the future of farming, and that is 90% of Wales, and that's where we're going to get nature's recovery on the land, is in the farmland. So it's absolutely critical we get this right. So we're really encouraging supporters, people, to go to our website, log on, write to your MSs, your members of the Senedd, because we need your voices to be heard. We want you to say that this is the future of farming, is going to be really important for nature. Nature's in decline. Let's enable those farmers to be the custodians of the countryside that we want them to be.
And this is so important for food production and for rural communities, isn't it? I mean, there's no such thing as food security if nature's in decline. So actually, if we can put nature in recovery through good farming practices supported by good farming policy, that's actually good for future food production, and of course it's good for those rural communities as well that have their income from that.
Yeah, it's absolutely critical. Saying it's 90% of Wales, we've got to make sure that people can stay on the land. People are absolutely critical to this. They're the absolute core of Welsh communities, particularly Welsh culture. Over 50% of Welsh farmers speak the Welsh language. They are the cornerstones of those Welsh communities. Yeah, and without nature there is no farming. And farming is absolutely critical to our food production. But we need that really sustainable, like it should be going beyond sustainable, regenerative farming. And actually the Agricultural Wales Bill actually sets out how new payments, after we've left the EU now, and the new payments will actually pay farmers to produce those, what they call public goods. So producing food, certainly, but also producing those essential public goods going forward.
So the concept of regenerative agriculture, so that's all about that as we farm, we're actually improving nature, we're actually restoring our soils, restoring our biodiversity, restoring our pollinators, all of which makes it easier to produce more food in the future.
Yeah, certainly. Farmers are a bit like ourselves. They want to do the right things. They want to be able to be these custodians, and we need to enable them to do that, because it's only then that it can actually turn around nature's fortunes going forward. So we're really encouraged now that Welsh Government have got that firmly as part of the public goods, but also paying farmers for things like storing carbon to help us with the climate change crisis, but also helping to hold back floodwaters. Increasingly we're seeing more extreme, severe weather events here in Wales, but what's going to be critical to this is really getting the people to understand that how critical farming is to all of this, and also to make sure the farming communities understand that this is hopefully making sure that economically their future's a lot more sustainable, and they're recognised for the amazing work that they can do for both climate and nature.
It feels like regenerative agriculture offers the best hope for incomes for rural communities in the future.
Yeah, this is the future of farming, as I see it. This is a way of making sure that we can secure that income for farmers going forward. At the moment, the subsidy payments would be going straight to Welsh Government, and they've got to make some tough decisions in these times. Do they use that money for farming, or does it go into the NHS or education? And I think Welsh Government are quite committed to farming and the farming future, because they know they've completely signed up to understanding the nature crisis and the climate crisis. So this is going to be a key way that Wales can actually combat both of those.
So this is a debate that's happening really all around the world, actually, is this kind of issue at the moment about how do we tackle the nature crisis and how do we tackle food security and so on. It feels to me like there's a real opportunity here for Wales to lead the world in this respect. You have the Future Generations Act and so on, which gives a brilliant foundation for Welsh Government policy. Do you see that? Do you think that, Rachel? Do you get that sense that's what we might be able to hope for, that this would be a really world-leading approach to agricultural policy in Wales?
Yeah, let's set out. This is a new beginning. This is once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to really look at the future of farming. Let's make it sustainable, make it regenerative. And Welsh Government have fully understood that that opportunity is here and now. And what a critical time to realise that, because hopefully we'll be signing up to the 30 by 30 commitment at COP15, the end of December. And if we're going to achieve that 30% of land effectively managed for nature, we're going to have to bring farmers with us. They're absolutely key to this. So, Welsh Government have seen this as an opportunity. The new scheme set out in the Agricultural Wales Bill starts from the premise of how can we make this work for future generations. I'm really encouraged by this, and I really hope that the general public can really get behind this, talk to their MSs, get them to understand that what a critical time this really is now.
So I'm excited about this, Rachel, for reasons beyond Wales as well, actually, because obviously at the Wildlife Trust we've been working really hard on trying to encourage DEFRA to drive much more progressive agricultural policy for England as well. And we had all kinds of promises 2-3 years ago about how public money would only be used for public goods like putting nature in recovery and so on, and it all seemed very hopeful 2-3 years ago, but sadly we really have seen some of the ambition behind that get watered down time after time. And right now we're really concerned that the sort of final result we're going to get is not going to be nearly as ambitious as we hope. So I'm really hoping that Wales can kind of lead the way here and demonstrate what can be done, and that England can learn from that.
And I agree with you. I think England can learn from this. I think the way that Wales is actually looking to future generations and understanding that this is such a critical time for nature and for the climate, and actually saying, right, this is public money, taxpayers' money being spent here. How can we enable farmers to be those custodians of the countryside? So they're really looking at this now and will want to pay farmers for all the things that they are already providing. Let's not forget that farmers are already have great natural habitats on their land, and also what we need to do is start looking at how can they also provide things like carbon storage, so like restoring our peatlands, etc. Now, I know that's also understood in England, but it's about that commitment from governments to really understand not only is this the time now to spend taxpayers' money in tackling these twin crises, but also making the future of farming more sustainable. And I think that link back to taxpayers' money and people understanding what is their money buying from farming is quite critical. So I think Welsh Government have got it right. We're still not there. The scheme doesn't start to 2025, doesn't become fully effective to 2030. But I'm really hopeful that Welsh Government have got this right, that they are committed, and this is the time to really help farmers address the nature and climate crisis.
So we're not just doing this as the Wildlife Trust, are we, Rachel? We're working with many others on this campaign.
Certainly, we've come together with partners because it's such a critical once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So I'm really delighted that we've been able to join with the Woodlands Trust, WWF, the World Wildlife Fund, and the RSPB, and also the Wales Environment Link, which is like a body of all the environmental groups in Wales. And we've all come together to promote the Agricultural Wales Bill, and encouraging our members to write to their local MSs to tell them the agricultural bill is really fit for purpose. We're really pleased within it. There's measures there to address both the nature and the climate crisis. So it's been great coming together with partners because we all share that future, more sustainable, that regenerative future for farming in Wales.
That's great. And of course we're doing this lots at the UK level, really making sure the sort of big environment NGOs are working closely together now as well, and supporting each other on this, because it's so much to do in tackling the climate and nature crisis. We've got to join up and work together as much as we can, really.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be really, the general public want us to come together, and it's that consistency of message, and I think people appreciate that. They can understand the gravitas of some of these issues now and like to see us working together. And collectively we're so powerful, quite a lot of members, and so and giving that voice for nature is quite critical for all those organisations.
So how can people find out how to take action?
Well, go to the Wildlife Trust Wales website. You go on there, on the front page you'll see there's a link to the Agricultural Wales Bill. It's just one click, you're in, just fill in a couple of details. It will tell you straight away who your local MS is, and all you have to do is just one more click and the letter goes off to your MS. So it's really straightforward. We'd love people to just have that voice for nature, and it's absolutely critical time. So just go on, log on, and you can do it about 3 seconds. That's all it'll take you.